Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Comic Chop, the place where we take you through our local comic shop and chop away the competition. I actually don't know where that was coming from. Let me go see what my other one said. I had one written down before.
That was actually not that bad.
All right, no,
That was pretty cool.
it's
That
not.
was actually pretty good.
It's not a competition show, though. Welcome back, everybody, to the Comic Chop, where we slice and dice through the comic shop aisles of our local comic book store and bring to you all things nerdy, fun, and hopefully horror. I'm here with Joe, just like I have been the last couple of times. Lance, unfortunately, couldn't make it today. We were going to review a special comic book, but since he is out today, we decided to take a different route and go through the newly released trailers that were just released because Comic Con just happened a couple weeks ago. This episode probably is going to release next week, but Comic Con happened the same weekend that we were in California. So
hmm
me and Lance and Aid from Slashers Pod went to Midsummer Scream. There's a lot of Midsummer things. I went to Midsummer Nightmare, Midsummer something. So we went to Midsummer Scream in Long Beach, which is the biggest Halloween convention in the United States, I think. Who knows? That's what Aid said. So if it's wrong, pathologically ADE on Instagram and tell her she's wrong.
Let
Uh,
her know.
yeah, let her know on how have you been? Have you been doing anything interesting, anything fun?
No, I know, and I know the answer to this. So I'm not through the course of this. I'm to try to not spoil anything. But Deadpool Wolverine, if you haven't seen it, go freaking see that. It was an awesome chef's kiss for anybody who's been waiting to see Wolverine in his comic accurate uniform, and a lot of good cameos. So
Yes.
just that, been kind of just reveling in, basking in the glory that was that. Been getting into the Olympics, watching sports I don't usually watch, and getting way too excited about it. And yeah, no travels for me. No travels for me. I was living vicariously through you guys, watching you guys on Instagram.
Yeah, it was fun. And if you want to see a little quick 4-minute video of our trip, we have one on YouTube for the Midsummer Scream. I'm glad you're enjoying the Olympics. Go sports,
I
go
do.
people with nice bodies, go to that guy whose dick prevented him from winning the pole vault. Um,
Dude, yes. Awesome. That's a if you're gonna lose, that's a great way to
I know.
lose.
So you know he's gonna go home and start slinging puss everywhere or ass. I don't know what he's into, but
Maybe
uh,
both.
yes, I was gonna say because you did mention Deadpool. I keep wanting to say Deadpool versus Werewolf, and that is not what it's called. It's called Deadpool and Wolverine. I was gonna say we could do like a real quick spoiler-free little blurb about it. You kind of did yours because I saw it as well. I really
hmm
enjoyed it. I think I even gave it a perfect score on Letterbox. I was kind of sad when it was over, but I really liked it. And then I texted you a screenshot of what happened when it got ruined for me an hour before the movie started. And then I started with some bitch named Shauna, but that's neither here nor there.
I told a lot of people that hadn't seen it yet. I was like, go see it because it's gonna get ruined for you. And not that you're not gonna enjoy the movie, but it is gonna take away that little extra bit
Yeah.
of joy when you see some of this stuff. So if you haven't go seen it and it hasn't been spoiled, go see it,
Yeah.
please.
It's really
Please.
fun, super fun, and it's good to just get away and turn your brain off and watch some mindless entertainment with some funny boys. I don't know, is Hugh Jackman
55-year-old
funny?
Hugh Jackman, freaking ripped, massive.
That's actually gonna come back around at the end of this episode, my little uh love to see it going on these days, but we have to go through some things before I can round out my statement. So first, and I think it's probably going to be the most popular trailer. Oh, actually, no, there's another one that's more popular. But right now we have Hellboy: The Crooked Man, which I believe this is the fifth film being made. There it is. Yes.
Yes, the fifth one. We had three with Ron Perlman and then one with Hopper from Stranger Things.
Yes.
I don't
And
remember his name.
I don't know his name either. But he was Santa Claus in is it the red
Yes.
one? The red one? No,
The
something night.
night, yeah, night,
Violent night.
Violent Night.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, which was awesome. If you haven't seen that, go see that.
Yeah,
That was an
that's another
awesome
super
movie.
fun movie. Hellboy this time is Jack Kesey or Kesey. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but if you don't know who he is, you probably still won't know who he is after I tell you this. But I watched a show called Claws. Yes, it's about women that own a nail salon, but it was really good. It was I forgot what channel it was on, but you know Niecy Nash from Reno 911.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
was her show, and it was just a really good show. And he plays like a drug king, like real, like he has a southern accent. He acts interestingly, not bad, but just like the person he's trying to portray. And so it's kind of strange. Like I didn't even know it was him until I was doing a little bit of research on these commercials, and I was like, oh shit, that's him. So funny enough, he's the least attractive Hellboy in makeup, but the most attractive Hellboy out of makeup. Which Hellboy do you
I
find most attractive? Just kidding.
Probably Ron Perlman.
I would
If
agree.
if if I was gay, I would go for more of the gruff
Hmm.
or the seasoned, been run through sent through the ringer a couple times.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, with the trailer, I was actually really excited. I know it got shat on a lot
Yeah.
by the communities, but this one I really like because it's going through kind of like a horror. It looks kind of like they went like this is a horror movie first, comic book movie second,
Yeah.
which if it falls short being scary, okay, but I really like the fact that it looks like they're trying to make it scary,
Yeah.
kind of separate it from the rest of the what the MCU and what the DCU is doing. Um, but no, and I'm excited. I like all four of the Hellboy movies, even the one with Hopper. I really enjoyed that. That movie. It was super bloody, super gory. I think they even released an unedited, or what's it called, unrated,
Uh,
unrated version of that. Um, and yeah, and then like the Ron Perlman ones, those ones were really good. Those were more comic booky, more kid friendly, more just about like monsters. This one looks like it's about demons,
yeah.
which is awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited about this. I'm actually really really excited about this.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that because I feel like I'm the only one that also agrees. Because no one I know liked it. And I was like, but you guys, okay, so backstory, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't think I've seen all of the Hellboys. And you're right, the Guillermo del Toro ones are what he does best. Creatures,
Oh yeah,
art,
yeah.
like just the visuals amazing. The one with Hopper is very violent and gory, which I love. Hello. We're
Oh yeah,
boys from the
slashers.
90s. Well, even beyond that, like you can entertain me with some good violence and some good kills. Like,
Mhm.
that's why I should have what was your whole episode about? I should live in Rome or whatever. Yeah, I'll just watch people die all day.
Oh yeah.
Um, but this one, it's almost like in the Conjuring universe. And the Crooked Man
Mm.
is actually in, I don't remember if it's a Conjuring movie or something, but every one of those movies always has like a smaller entity involved. And one of them has the Crooked Man. I don't know if it's the same demon or whatever, but yeah, it does look very horror. And I don't know, this is what I was gonna say, if correct me if I'm wrong or not, but I think chronologically, if you were to put all these movies together, this would be one that happens first, the time period, even though I don't know.
It could be. I mean, I don't have no idea.
Because it
Um,
seems like it takes place like colonial times, but also like his like sidekick girlfriend or whatever, she seems modern.
mhm.
So I don't know. If
And
I'm
it could
wrong.
be time jumps because he's the Prince of Hell, and he's supposed to bring about the apocalypse,
Huh?
which is like what the second Perlman movie was about, maybe the third. Don't remember
Huh.
which one those ones were. But so like again, so he's a an otherworldly entity.
Yeah.
So he's basically beyond time. So it could be because I know that they find him in World War II, and there's a couple parts in the trailer where they're in World War II.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it could be a time jump type. Like
Yeah.
maybe he's seen this thing before, maybe in colonial times, and now he's so. But yeah, I'm like you said, I'm glad I found somebody else that actually is gonna enjoy this freaking movie.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's good or not, I am a fan of bad movies. I try to find the good in them. unless it's The Corpse Bride, because I hate that movie.
Hmm.
Can't stand that movie.
I mean, I also like bad movies as well. My main thing is what's the story? Give me the storytelling. If the storytelling's
Hmm.
there, I'm very forgiving about a lot of other things. So Mike Mignola, I believe is how you say his name.
Hmm.
He's the writer of the comics, and it says it's from an original story by him. So this might actually, I didn't have a chance to look, but it might be an actual comic book series that he wrote a while ago, but we'll see. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
It's being directed by Brian Taylor, who also directed Crank, Mom and Dad, Jonah Hex, and Happy, which all of those are amazing except Jonah Hex. So I'm very excited to see what they're gonna bring together. Next on our roster, I'm a little conflicted, and I don't know if you've seen these, but Rings of Power, there's a new season. I believe it's the third one coming out. Have you seen the other ones?
Yes. And if you want to catch what I really thought about him, you could check out our episode from 2 years ago, because it takes 2 years for these things to come out on Rings of Power. It is basically, it's set in the time before the Lord of the Rings, when those are happening. I enjoyed the heck out of this show. I really liked it. I understand it's not 100% faithful to the source material, whatever. It was good. It was good fantasy, and it was cool to kind of see like different types of hobbits, and who's this magic man? Is that Gandalf? Is it somebody else? We don't know. And I don't think we even really find. I'm gonna have to watch the first season of Rings of Power, but I am super stoked about this. Now that Hot D is done,
Hot
I
DS
need to get
never
my
done, Joe.
fix.
Oh, House of the Dragon. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry,
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 sorry.
House of the Dragon. But yeah, no, I'm super excited to get my fantasy fix on TV. So this one should be good.
Well, I'm glad that you said that also because the only thing I've ever heard of in the Rings of Power is that the first season sucked. I don't even know if there was a second season. Um, when I was watching this trailer, I didn't know it was for Rings of Power. I was like, oh, what's this new show? This looks like something that could fill the space that Game of Thrones left in my body. Um, it seems a little there. What's frustrating about this trailer, and this is me not having any experience with the actual show, but it seems like there's parts that are really, really good visually, and there's some that's like that looks a little cheesy. Uh, and it bounces back and forth, almost like soap opera comic, like in a funny way, not like a comic book, but like soap opera. But then you go to this like epic, like visually stunning creature or whatever. So I
Hmm.
think I'm gonna give it a chance. Because you never know. My only gripe, because I'm a pervert, is I think it's TV 14, not TVMA, which means, none of the goods, but I guess that's fine.
I think they're still, just because it is a Lord of the Rings thing. I think they are trying to still cash in on the younger
Um,
audience. Because yeah, I think really the only blood you see is like orc blood, and that's black. So it's like you run into the Evil Dead like workaround, when the blood is coming out of the walls in the first Evil Dead, and it's like green and like
oh,
purple.
yeah.
It's 'cause like, no, well, you used too much blood. You can't have any more blood.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's really the only blood you see in it. And like you said, like visually stunning. I mean, it's a Lord of the Rings movie, so of course it's like the best parts of New Zealand. And I think, yeah, I another episode we did is like gatekeeping and toxic nerds. And I think
Guilty.
it's just nerds
I'm just
being
kidding.
assholes. Well, I mean, we all like, I have to stop myself from doing it a lot of the time, but it's like, dude, come on. Like it's fun. What else would you be watching?
Yeah.
Vanderpump Rules?
Are you
Oh my
talking on like specifically like because of people hating on it because it wasn't loyal to the book?
and yeah, yeah. I remember struggling through the Silmarillion, which is the prequel. It's basically like the encyclopedia, the history book of and Tolkien wrote it that way, like a freaking history book that's like no narrative. It's just this happened and this happened and this happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not 100% loyal to that, but I'm okay with that. Again, I think we're at this point that we should have, like with the MCU, like this isn't what happened in the comic books, but we all know that this isn't the comic books.
Yeah.
They're separate entities, same characters, separate entities. Can we get over it, please?
Yeah. And why would you want something to happen that you already know is going to happen? Like, just read the book then over
Yeah,
again. And I actually
yeah.
I follow an independent author who wrote a book that was turned into a pretty successful independent film, and he talked about how they were had him on set, and he was seeing these changes being made to the story, and it was kind of like giving him like a little bit of a panic attack to where he had to like leave and talk to his call his publisher, or I forgot who he talked to, and they were like, you have to understand sometimes these things don't translate well into film. So like I understand, but when they buy it from you, they're buying the right to say this isn't going to work, we're going to do this. And so,
Yeah.
and he wrote a whole thing on Facebook about it, about how he agrees with that now and he understands the process. And so when you say things like that's not how it was in the book, maybe it didn't translate well on TV.
Which is just to get into a little bit more nerd stuff, which is why I don't think, and this came out this last weekend too, with we saw the for the first time we saw the cast of the new Fantastic Four movie, which is again going to take like 2 years to come out. But those movies haven't done well.
No,
They're pretty bad movies, and I think a lot of that has to do with um Reed Richards his stretchy powers don't translate well on screen. In the comic book, in a cartoon, it's a cartoon, it's a comic book. But when you see it live action, especially like the CGI from like the times, it's
yeah.
like that looks a little too goofy. But I'm actually really excited with that. RDJ is coming back. I don't know how that's gonna work, but I'm here for it. I'm not gonna hate it.
Yeah,
I'm
and
here
I
for
actually remember, I think I remember hearing you say that because I have that opinion also that when those Fantastic Four movies are coming out, it's like people were like, we'll tolerate certain ways of suspending our belief, but like stretching guys, that's a little too much.
it.
So well,
Yeah. And Jessica Alba, I mean, if she's going to be in her underwear, why are you making her invincible? Like, let's,
I mean,
maybe that's just the pervert in me, but damn,
hey,
but
I'm glad
damn.
we both had confessions this episode about what we expect. And then we have probably one that a lot of people are looking forward to is El Pingüino with Colin Farrell. That's the penguin for people that don't speak really good Spanish.
From what I understand, this is going to take place after the events of the Batman with, well, we'll call him Shiny Batman, uh, Twilight Batman. And then another thing that I read was this is basically going to end right when the next Batman starts,
Okay,
which I think is kind of cool.
like a bridge.
As long as they do it well, uh, I have my apprehensions about this only because Disney has tried to do this with the MCU and like make shows that you kind of have to watch to get like the full force of their next cinematic adventure.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't like Batman movies that don't have Batman in them. And I understand this isn't a movie about Batman, but Penguin is a Batman character. Um, but so I do have my apprehensions about it, but the fact that they're kind of making him sympathetic and this is his rise to power to being who the Penguin, like being in charge of his own like crime family or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, I do enjoy that. Sophia, the bad
Falcone.
guy in this,
Because I
Falcone.
actually made a note to ask you who the F is Sophia Falcone. I'm sure Joe knows because she is in what is it, Arkham?
Yeah. So I'm not going to ruin it. I'm not going to ruin. I know what happens in the comic books. I don't want to ruin it for anybody,
Okay,
but it should be a
fair enough.
pretty cool reveal. But she is going to be the main bad guy in this. I'm assuming she's going to be the main bad guy.
Yeah,
If a story between two bad guys, there is an actual bad guy. So
yeah,
yeah,
and I,
apprehensive. I'm gonna watch it, but
of course,
whatever.
hello. And I know it did get annoying because Disney was like this show and this show and this show and this show, and then you go watch something completely unrelated like the Doctor, whatever his name is, the Evil Dead one.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah. And you're like, by the way, if you haven't seen WandaVision, good luck understanding what's going on. And so, but with this one, if it's just this one that bridges the films, that's okay
Hmm.
because it's one show.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
Disney went a little overboard. Luckily, I saw WandaVision. Not that we're talking about that, but apparently Loki had a lot of stuff going into the show, had a lot of stuff leading into Deadpool and Wolverine. Um, I have to stop myself, make sure I'm not saying werewolf. And and so I was like, oh, I never saw it. So I didn't even watch Deadpool 2 before I saw this. So, but I like it. It reminds me of like those 90s mafia movies that I was really into. And I know they're not going to lean too much into the Penguin like Danny DeVito, but a girl can dream. And also, they might bring Batman in because remember in The Boys, not that it's the same thing, but they did Gen V and like the last episode or two had
Mm.
whatever his name in it, the main guy from The Boys. So maybe he's gonna squeak in somewhere.
And that'd be cool. I because again, I can see him trying, doing his rise to power and Batman not have something to say
Mhm.
about it. Um, but yeah, like and well, and that's one of the good things that I when you said like we're not going to get as much Danny DeVito. Um, Danny DeVito was like more true to the comic book, but I do like when they try to make this like real world feel to comic book movies, how they're able to put in the subtleties of that character
Mhm.
and not make it seem ridiculous. Like he's got a very pointy nose. He's pretty plump. He waddles.
Yeah.
He's got kind of a limp, so he kind of walks like a penguin. Like it's just like, okay, I see how you did that. I like that you're at least trying to stay true to the character, but not making it look like a guy that's got like little hands
Yeah.
and whatnot. And Pee Wee Herman's not his dad.
Oh. Well, he's dead. But optimistic with Penguin. The way I feel, how you feel about Penguin is how I feel about our next entry, which is Borderlands. Ba-ba-dum. Well, written and directed by Eli Roth is the only thing that really attracts me. Because I've never seen him make a movie like this. This is probably the biggest thing he's ever done with the biggest cast he's had.
I don't know. I've dabbled in the video games. They're not my jam. It does look like they're staying true to the because I think I've only played Borderlands 1.
Yeah.
But it looks like they're trying to stay true to what that is with the goofy over the top action. And I did play Tiny Tina's. It's basically they made a D&D game where Tiny Tina, the chick with the bunny ears,
Yeah.
she's the one running the game. That was actually a very good, very it's actually a pretty awesome game. But I will give them that they are staying true to the source material. And this just looks like it's going to be a fun, even if you don't know Borderlands lore or whatever what's going on. It'll be an over the top fun.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Hart, that dude, that tiny little man is hilarious,
Yeah.
hilarious. And what's her name? Not Jamie Lee Curtis. She's in Lord of the Rings. What's her name?
Oh, Kate Blanchett.
Rose. Kate Blanchett.
Yeah.
Hot, hot,
She looks good.
hot.
I really like that. And so I'm not familiar with the video game. I played it once. The only person I recognize from the video game is the hot shirtless guy with the mask on. So I'm already in. But I just it seemed almost like a sci-fi show, like the channel, not like science fiction. And so I was like, oh, this could be fun. I don't know. I don't really like that girl who plays Tiny Tina because she was like the daughter in Barbie and she was the little girl in forgot what else, but she's always really annoying. But I guess she's fine.
I think it'll be fun. It's probably something I'm not going to see in the theaters. I'm probably going to wait till it comes out on streaming,
Yeah.
or I'll spend the $3, to rent it on Google Play or whatever. Um, I'm not that excited. So
The next one on my list, Captain America: Brave New World. Crickets.
this one I'm stoked about.
No.
Without this is before
Oh, I know why.
Marvel Jesus saved the MCU with his awesome movie that we're going to bring up yet again, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Hmm.
Um, I was actually pretty excited about this. The teaser dropped like a couple weeks ago or before these ones came out. Um, I really like the fact that this one again it's more grounded. There's less superhero things because Falcon or the Captain America, he Anthony Mackie doesn't really have superpowers. And then he's still trying to be Captain America. I really did like I liked the show Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus. I really liked that. This one, yeah, I'm excited about it. The Captain America movies, this one looks like I said, when it's more grounded, it's more like Captain America and the Winter Soldier, where it was kind of more like a spy thriller. I don't know if that's what this is going to be, But if you like spy thrillers, that movie's pretty damn freaking good. Um, and we get a teaser of the Red Hulk, and that's awesome. And anything Harrison Ford is in, I'm in. So yeah, I'm actually really excited. I had a little bit of a conundrum. I was like, do I wear my slasher shirt or do I wear my Falcon and Winter Soldier shirt that I bought when that show came out? But
You picked the right
obviously
choice.
slashers.
Yeah, you picked the right choice.
Yes, yes. Oh, I know. I know.
I just, it looks like a political thriller to me, and I'm not really into that. I'm one of those, I don't want to see. I mean, I like how like Penguin and Joker and the Batman try to make these superheroes more realistic, but whenever it's like, we have to save the president, it's like, I don't want to see that. And apparently Air Force One is now canon. And so thank you for laughing because I had to explain that to the last person I said that to. And I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm old.
Get off my plane. Awesome. So awesome.
I know.
So awesome.
But I mean, I guess it's fine. I won't be watching it. But I've also haven't seen any Captain America movies that Anthony Mackie has been in. To me, he is the main star of Twisted Metal, and that's all I need from him because that's an amazing show.
It was freaking awesome. I will agree with you with that. Just a little sidetrack. Yeah, I
Mhm.
agree. That was
Second season coming soon.
one of the greatest adaptations I've ever seen.
Oh yeah. And Nev Campbell is a bad guy? Yes, please. So I'm really into it. So I'm more excited about
Yeah.
that than Captain America Brave New World. And then they chopped the White House in half, whatever. But this is not a political podcast, so we won't talk about how the White House has already been torn in half the past couple of years, and we're going on to Transformers 1.
Transformers 1. This one, again, when they did the teaser trailer like a month ago, I was like, that's dumb.
Mhm.
And then when I watched this full trailer, I was like, okay, all right. You awoke the little Joe inside us
Oh
all.
my.
Yeah. Not that way. That's
Okay, I was like,
gross.
wait a minute.
That's gross. Looks like a good origin story with Optimus Prime and Megatron and yeah, can it's I'm again not going to see it in the theater. I am not paying money to go see that, but I will definitely watch it on streaming.
If it's not Beast Wars, I don't want to hear about it.
Well, if it's not the first two Transformer movies, I don't want to hear about it. And the show, the original show was awesome. I grew up on that shit.
You're right.
Again, if I'm watching it now, it's not.
Yeah.
It's it's made for kids, so I can't judge it too harshly. But I do remember the first two Transformer movies, saw those in the theaters, and I was like, this is again one of the greatest adaptations I've ever seen.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Do you like Star Trek?
I do enjoy. I've been known to dabble, but I have no idea what is it? A Sector 31, Star Trek Sector
Section
31, I think is
31, Star Trek,
Section 31.
starring
I
Michelle Yeoh.
no, I have no idea what this is about. I was like, you didn't even. This is Star Trek again. It's a Star Trek movie. You're not showing the Starship Enterprise. Like that is the title character. It's not Captain Kirk. It's not Captain Picard. It's not Captain Janeway. It's the Starship Enterprise. At least, okay. Well, Janeway was Deep Space Nine. It was a whole. It was a space station, so there was no. But it was still good. Um, yeah, I have no idea. I'll see it on Paramount Plus, but I'm not going to spend money on this.
Yeah,
Looks good. I mean, action scenes and whatnot.
it does look good, and I don't know if it was my love for Michelle Yeoh or the female empowerment I was feeling from the Beyonce formation playing in the background, but there was a couple of times where I'm like, oh, that costume's kind of stupid, but then I was like, never mind. They'll switch scenes, and it's like they fixed it. It just I know nothing about Star Trek. I seen a couple episodes and that was it. But I just if this was like completely something else, like out of the Star Trek lore, I'd be like, oh, looks really cool. It reminds me of that show Defiance that was on Sci-Fi. After I was shitting on sci-fi shows, there's one that I liked called Defiance. But it looks really fun. And now I can make my final statement of what I really enjoyed about all these trailers and like in general, these are action films, even Wolverine and Deadpool, that are starring 40 plus people in age. Like this isn't, like the 20 something year old whatever's. Um, I'm like, yeah, Kate Blanchett, Jamie Lee Curtis, Michelle Yeoh, like Wolverine when he's 55, I think you mentioned earlier.
55. Yep.
Like it gives me hope that I still have some years. to kick
We could
ass.
still be discovered. We
Yeah.
could still be discovered and go star in these movies. Yeah, no, I didn't put that together, but I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. These aren't young
These
people,
aren't the young
and
bucks.
not that 40's that old. I'm like 40 days out from being 40, but
It's okay.
that kind of hurts a little bit. But no, that is, and it's just the fact that like you just because you hit 40, 45, 50 doesn't mean like if you were an action star before, that part of your career doesn't have to end. You don't have to start doing, you know, artsy movies where you're staring out a window looking at, birds fly
Yeah.
or whatever. You could still do that shit. And and no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't put that together, but you're not wrong.
Yeah. And they all like you could like I mean, you've always been, I don't know about always, but since I've known you, you've always had like a lot of muscle and keep yourself in check health wise and stuff. And so sometimes like me, who started off a little late, I know you were military and stuff, so that probably helped a lot with keeping you in shape. But like with me, who did nothing, made C's all through high school, not because I was dumb, but because I was lazy and I knew what I had to do to get by. Same thing happened to my health. And so being able to see these people of this age and be like, whoa, they have like that. Now, granted, some of them are probably on steroids, but that's fine.
Mhm.
Like, oh, I can still be, a marvel. Um, but it's just also because it's an internal thoughts I've had loving horror movies like when I was young, or when we were young, like in the 90s. Like I know Judy Last Summer, Scream, like all these kids were like in their 20s playing high school kids. And I always wondered when I was in my 20s, are horror movies going to lose their luster for me? Because as I get older, I'm not going to be able to identify with the typical teenage horror movies. But it's even happening in horror, or maybe I'm just noticing it more as I get older, that there's a lot more from the point of view of actual adults and not teens or
Mhm.
young kids. And so I'm like, oh, like I didn't lose interest because there's still more narratives out there that I can connect with, and it's not all dumb teens running around. So
Yeah, no, I do think that a lot of the media that we consumed when we were younger grew up with us. And I think that's actually a credit to like production companies and whatnot. And like we've already got our hooks in these guys. We can't lose them by starting we can't make kids movies now.
yeah.
And if we do, that's why I think like Stranger Things knocked it out of the park with the nostalgia. Like I'm not as old as they were. Like I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 84. Um, so I wasn't like a kid in the 80s, but like just seeing like some of that old stuff where it's just like this is a story about children,
Mhm.
but I do remember those aspects of being a kid.
Yeah.
And yeah, you either go full board, not technically a kid show, but starring kids. It was a demon movie, but it wasn't from the it wasn't from the Catholic side. It was
The
from
Jewish side,
the Jewish side.
I think that's
And
possession,
is it Possession
but the Dybbuk
with
box,
Jeffrey D. Morgan?
yeah,
Yeah, the Dybbuk box.
I think it's,
And that movie was like he was trying to save his kid.
yeah,
So again, there were still kids in it and whatnot, but again, from the point of view of older people,
yeah,
uh, yeah, you would relate to that more. It's not prom night where you're running away from you know a knife wielding maniac. You're trying to protect your child,
yeah,
and yeah, no, that was a good. Yeah.
yeah.
I think it has grown up with us.
Well, and also you mentioned Stranger Things. What they also did really well is they started off pretty family friendly, but if you watch the first season versus the latest season, like a whole part of my family, like they ran church or they run churches, like pastors or whatever, and they didn't
Mm-hmm.
even watch the last season based off of the first episode. And I'm like, awesome. So that's what I want to hear about something that I'm watching. It matures with you. Like you can't like I can't bring
Mm-hmm.
a, if my kid was 11 when they started Stranger Things 1, they're at the age where they could handle the latest season, but I'm not going to have an 11-year-old start off with the fourth season of Stranger Things and be like, what the fuck is that going on?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so I definitely love that. And then also with the new Batman show, X-Men 97. Yeah, that sounds like a radio. Every time I say it, it sounds like a radio channel. X-Men 97. But they also, while they're not super mature, like inappropriate stuff, they do have more of a mature taste than what you would expect a show for kids right now would be like.
Well, that's you can't make an X-Men show or movie without some of those I guess harder hitting, more serious themes of bigotry and racism and whatnot. Because I mean, that's what they're all about. Humanity being racist towards mutants because they're different and whatnot. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I don't remember, I don't thinking back as a kid watching the original run of X-Men, if I if that totally sank in as far as like what they were trying to portray,
Hmm.
other than the fact that those are asshole humans. Why do they not like the X-Men? Just because they're different? He's cool. Like
Yeah.
he's got laser eyes and he's got cool claws and she can freaking pick up cars and throw them. Like,
And she's hot. But but no, yeah, I definitely agree. Went back then, I wasn't putting two and two together. But,
mhm.
but now we're old enough to. But the final trailer, which isn't much, I don't know. I only wrote it down because maybe you played the game, but Like a Dragon Yakuza for the Sega, I believe it's about
Nope.
the Yakuza. And it's not that I'm not interested in this movie. It looks cool, but they don't really show you much. They just show the super old traditional way of doing the
Mhm.
tattoos. I forgot what that's called. And then it makes like a scaly design on some guy's back, and then it says Like a Dragon Yakuza. So
Yeah, it's got like shadow boxing, and it's like,
yeah.
and that's it.
So
Yeah, I have no idea.
it's probably gonna be Yakuza, which if people don't know, and Joe, you're more cultured than I am, correct me if I'm wrong. It's basically the Japanese mafia, right? Yeah. Uh
As far as I know,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
think of the Kill Bill, what are they, the 66 or whatever. Um it seems like it's gonna be that because it's martial arts with Yakuza. So you have that to look forward to. But
Mhm.
my friend, that is all that we have for today to discuss. We had a pretty deep discussion though. It's gonna be a little bit of a long episode, but you know what? I don't care because Lance isn't here, so fuck the rules.
Be here next time, Lance.
Yeah.
Damn
Um,
it.
but yeah, thanks again for joining me, Joe. We
Thank
will,
you for having me.
of course, and in 2 weeks we'll be coming back. If you want to follow up, if you want to follow along with us on what we're reading for next week, we will be reading House of Slaughter. Issue no,
Two very good thumbs up. I am stoked about this episode.
jokes on you. I have three, so I don't know how good that was. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so if you want to read it, House of Slaughter, we'll be reviewing that in 2 weeks together. But we're doing the first collection. I don't think is it called an issue? Is it called it's called an issue, right? First issue.
First, it would be the first trade.
Yeah. But
It's like the first 6 comic books all into one book. So yeah.
yeah, so we're doing that.
Do I have it? I don't have it out. I was gonna see. I was
He's
gonna
never
show
prepared.
it, but I
I'm
don't
just
have it
kidding.
out. I'm not.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, so that's all for you guys. That's all for you guys. That's all we have for y'all today. Thanks for joining us, and until the next time, stay spooky and
Stay
Oh
nerdy.
my god.
There we go. My bad.
I'm gonna tell Sal you didn't even
My
remember
bad.
your own tagline. Again, also, yeah, you can catch Joe on Much Ado About Nerding on all the podcast stuff. You can also catch him on Instagram at much underscore ado underscore wait, much ado about nerding with underscores under all of it. Podcast. That's very confusing. I'll put it in the notes description if y'all don't understand.
Or if you're my sister, much ado about nerding with underscores instead of spaces.
Oh, that's my
Easiest
t-shirt.
way.
Ugh, lesbians are
Easiest
so
way.
smart. But anywho, okay. Well, thanks, Joe. Have a good couple of days, and we'll talk again soon.
You too. Thank you again for having me, and I'm super stoked about the next episode. I know I've said that a bunch of times, but super stoked.
I love to hear how excited you are. But okay, sorry. I touched my headphone. It made music come on. Um, okay. Anyways, show's over. Bye, everyone.
Bye.